And look at what they're doing. They're cutting benefits. They are, this is unimaginable for a left-leaning party. They were doing worse things than the Conservatives.
Hello, we're here with the Libertarian Party of the United Kingdom outside Westminster, protesting against Keir Starmer's surveillance state. The reason we are here today is because anonymity is not a crime. Recent legislation is removing the right to privacy as enshrined in the Human Rights Act 1998, Article 19. The Online Safety Act requires social media companies to monitor what you say and report back to government if it violates their rules. We believe that people should be free to read and write and watch what they wish without being surveilled. Then there's the issue of facial recognition cameras. They announced just a couple of days ago that they are now going to be a permanent fixture on the streets of Croydon. They have them on vans all around London and the country. This means that you cannot walk down the high street without prostrating yourself, identifying yourself to the state. Anonymity is not a crime. That is why we are here today. Please follow the Libertarian Party online to find out more. We will be doing more events and we thank you for your support.
Hello, my name is Marco. I'm from the Libertarian Party. I'm here today to support our cause against the surveillance state. And I wanted to talk a bit about the global agenda, 2030 and all this plan that all this escalation that we're seeing in this authoritarianism. We do believe that there's something behind it, a mastermind, but find it really difficult to believe, and what puts most people off, I think, is the scale of it. The size. It's really, it's unimaginable to think that someone is coordinating across the whole world, all these different countries moving towards the same direction. You have so many different governments, so many different views, and it's really unimaginable to think that someone is behind all of this and it's orchestrating. So while I can definitely see the signs of, they put it black and white. So all this agenda is not fantasy. It is someone's plan. But I find it hard to believe that there is someone capable of the organizational feat to make this actually happen because of the sheer scale. But it is indeed, there are signs that make a lot of people wonder. So I believe it's important to be watchful, to keep an eye on what's going on. But I think each country, you have to stand by your belief. What I believe today, and especially in the situation like in the political landscape of the UK, because of possibly also these external interferences, there is a loss of the real values. We are seeing, the Uni Party, or the Labour Party. I mean, look at what they're doing. They're cutting benefits. They are, this is unimaginable for a left-leaning party. They were doing worse things than the Conservatives, and the Conservatives themselves have taken steps towards authoritarianism, again, increasing spending. So there's a loss of real political values, I believe, nowadays. There's they don't know what they stand for. They lost their souls, if you like, I think at the end they lost their souls and values to the altar of money and interest, personal interests. So it's hard to believe, but the signs are all there. So I personally am not fully convinced this is a reality, but I don't really blame people who are actually believing this is happening, because, it's possible.
How would the Libertarian Party go against this? How would the Libertarian Party take power back?
Well, it's, we're fighting our battles. We want to scale the state back. That's the key battleground. Even what's going on in the US with the Doge, that's the key battleground. The state is the weapon they use to control people's lives. If you reduce the state, they don't have that power. That's why the Libertarian Party believes that no one should have that power over the individual. The individual should be free to decide what they want.
Just like cut ties.
Yeah, reduce it as much as possible. That anyway, the state is so inefficient nowadays because it tries to do too many things, and therefore it's much better if they scale it back and do a few things, justice, defense, and very little else, policing if you like, but the state has to be cut down to the minimum and doing well with the efficiency that you would expect, All the things that we're hearing about nowadays, about all the justice system, the two-tier systems, the sentencing guidelines, all of this leaves people shocked, and it's unbelievable that this is happening to a state who hold the rule of law and justice as one of their main foundational values. It's just because the state is dysfunctional, it doesn't work, it's grown up to be too big, too complex, so too many laws, too difficult to interpret. Make it simple, make it easier to work with. So I have myself filed a freedom of information request to the Met Police because I was curious to understand how much money they were spending for DEI initiatives. I'm still waiting for them to reply. Not because I wanted to use against them, but because I've got a right to know as a citizen how much money they're spending on these things. So this is just one example of transparency that the state has to provide, but they are allowed to be not efficient, let's say, in those things. While when we are required to identify ourselves, to provide all the information, all now, immediately, you have to do it. There's no room for, no, give me 20 working days, maybe I'll do it,
If they want to fine, it's the most efficient system in the world.
Yeah.
If you go to like a local council website, first thing it says, pay. How to pay your fine. The fine is issued.
It's very efficient, the payment system. It's very efficient, absolutely.
Where's my dustbin? 6 months. Marco, absolute pleasure, man.
Thank you.